Welcome to the People Sports Podcast. I am Mark Titus. She is Charlotte Wilder. We are both red-blooded Americans on this Wednesday afternoon following our first show after the Olympics, Charlotte. USA has won the Olympics. I feel like we've run out of content with the Olympics. I feel like we've kind of hit everything there's to hit, but I just wanted to put a nice little bow on it. We won the Olympics. We did it.
Do you mean did we get the most medals? Is that what that means?
The most gold medals, the most medals. USA basketball didn't choke like we thought they might.
I can't believe that. I have one regret from the Olympics, Mark. I really do feel like we exhausted all of it. So, I mean, we talked about the Olympics for probably like 4 hours straight in total on this podcast. So I don't have much to say, except that I am really bummed that I didn't watch any synchronized swimming.
You didn't?
No.
I feel like synchronized swimming does a good job of what water polo doesn't, which is show underneath the water.
Yes, which is like, well, then it means water polo could have cameras if they actually tried harder.
Oh, another thing, Charlotte, with the underwater camera, it's time maybe perhaps to bring back, as first reported on this show, once upon a time in the Olympics, they used to do an underwater swim where everyone would jump in. You don't remember this. You don't remember anything we talk about.
Wait, what? When did was that with when we talked about the crazy like the guy
Olympics
who chugged bourbon and ran a marathon?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember talking about. Wait, no, I do remember.
Once upon a time in the Olympics, I can't remember if it was like we're gonna swim 50 meters underwater and whoever gets there first wins, or if it was just straight up like how long can you hold your breath, how far can you go?
Yeah.
Until you need to come up for air. But that used to be an Olympic event, and they stopped doing it in part because like everyone watching was like, this is boring. A guy goes under and then he pops up and that's it. They're like, this is.
Oh no, I think I would watch that.
Yeah, now that we have cameras that can go underwater, I would totally watch it. Yeah, bring that back.
Well, it's sort of a matter of time until free diving is in the Olympics, isn't it? Do you know about free diving? I got obsessed with. Yes.
That's under the videos you see of people like going into the abyss, the blue hole.
Without an oxygen tank.
Oh my God.
And they hold on to this rope and they push themselves down with their little flippers, and then coming back up, you have to you let your breath out at the right time because you get pressurized. I mean, it's my absolute nightmare. I think I legitimately have had nightmares about this, but that is a sport that I feel like is sort of like skateboarding or surfing, where it shouldn't be in the Olympics, but like we're heading towards that.
Well, that feels like a sport that everyone should get the gold medal. If you come back up and you're not dead, here's a gold medal.
If you survive this, you're a winner.
I did the last time I did anything close to that was I was in Maui a couple years ago for the Maui Invitational, and I'm snorkeling, and there were some scuba guys. I was probably in, if I had to guess, like 30 or 40 feet of water. It's like really shallow. There's a reef below you, whatever. Yeah. But as I'm snorkeling, just floating at the top, there are scuba guys that come like Scooby-Dooing on the ocean floor. And me having the ego I have, I was like, no, you don't get to go down there and look at those reefs up close, as I have to float up at the top. So you know what I'm going to do? Screw you, buddy. I'm coming down to see you. And I decided to just take a deep breath and go for it. And basically my brain exploded about 15 feet down. And I was like, this is a bad idea. And what is it? The bends? Is that what they call it?
Yeah, something like that.
I thought that was like if you go like a mile down.
It is. So you definitely just got like lightheaded from holding your. I don't think you had the bends.
Oh, it wasn't. It was like no. It was the entire world is like crushing my brain.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, that was definitely the.
So that was the bends.
I mean, I've been like a 7-year-old in a hotel pool before. I can hold my breath for longer than 30 seconds, Charlotte.
I don't know. I've never seen you swim, Mark.
Yeah, I was like, I can hold my breath. I've done this a million times growing up. I'm gonna go to the bottom, and then I like went down.
You know,
I'm like 20 feet down. I was like, oh my God. So I have no idea how these guys do this. Where they go
recognize it though. You know, your own hubris.
Yeah. So.
I think on the road we should find either a lake or a pool at one of these live shows, and so you can hold our breath the longest.
So you can free dive. We're gonna
Yeah,
put
the
this,
People's Sports Podcast Olympics.
We're gonna put this action figure at the bottom of a 10-foot pool. Can you go get it without your brain exploding?
My favorite thing in the world when I was a kid was like going and diving for the rings.
Oh,
You know, they would like,
yeah.
oh God, there are a few. I think I would still have a total blast doing that.
That would be so much fun. I do
You know,
that. Like,
playing catch and like diving for stuff never gets old.
There has never been a time in my life as a 34-year-old at this point, this is still true, where I am swimming in a pool and I don't think to myself, I wish I had goggles so I could just like go to the bottom.
All right, well, I'm such a loser that whenever I go to a pool, I bring goggles. I legitimately have never been to a pool at the age of 32 without goggles.
You go to a pool party.
I bring my goggles and my earplugs.
You go to like some house party where it's like a cocktail deal and there's a pool in the backyard and you show up with like a cocktail dress and goggles.
I'm like, you never know. You never know.
Oh man. So America wins the Olympics. Congratulations to us. Congratulations to all of us in America. Congratulations to the women's indoor volleyball team, Charlotte. Another team that I had my eye on that I was rooting for.
You got really into volleyball.
Very into it. They beat Brazil in straight sets. We worked Brazil. I watched every second of that. They sucked. They sucked.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. But yeah, Olympics are over. So I guess, do you want to pivot to 2024?
Well, yeah. What should we talk about? I guess.
Should we talk about the 2024 Olympics? Just get ahead
Probably.
of it now, or?
Where is that? Paris?
Paris. Yeah.
We got to cover those, man. We got to go to Paris.
I think so.
Assuming we both stuck around sports media until 2024, which feels like a long time, we got to go to Paris.
I think to ring in for the Paris Olympics, they should do they should jump off the Eiffel Tower, like bungee jump. They should like make that one of the sports.
Travis Pastrana should jump off the Eiffel Tower with a parachute.
Do you remember? Wasn't that I don't know. I might be misremembering, but I always remember that as like one of the first famous instances of a guy trying to invent flight. Was like someone jumped off the Eiffel Tower with like cardboard wings and like tried to fly.
How did that go? I wouldn't think so.
It did not go well.
You know what I've also gotten into in terms of free diving is the squirrel suit videos, which is basically that, except it works. I watched a video of this guy jumping off of a mountaintop in a squirrel suit and flying into an open cargo hold of a plane.
Yeah, that's...
I've had a lot of time, I think, over the past year on YouTube.
That's one of those deals that I guess you obviously have to be insane because you're not thinking about what could go wrong when you do that, and you're only thinking about what could go right. And I guess like you see the one guy do that's successful, and you're like, that would be sick if I could do that, and it just kind of your mind blocks out all of the ways this could go catastrophically wrong, which is a lot of ways.
Yeah, you know, my therapist has a word for that. There's tail risk and average risk. It goes from like no risk, average risk, it's a bell curve, to tail risk. And apparently I'm someone who spends too much time worrying about tail risk, which is like walking outside and getting hit by a bus, as opposed to average risk, which is like you go for a walk and you're fine. But then there are people, I think, who go to the far, far, far extreme where they're like, I am invincible and nothing will happen to me when I walk out of my house. And those are the people who jump into cargo planes.
Literally nothing could go wrong.
Yes.
I'm going to live forever. In fact, I've already lived. I might live for it. There's no proof that I'm going to die at any point. So
right. No one's. I haven't died yet. Well, so listen, Mark. The Olympics are over. It's August. It's sort of the dog days of sports summer. You know, like we're dealing with little bits of news here and there. What should we talk about on this show?
Does Dennis Schröder interest you at all? This story?
I mean, yes, a little bit, actually.
The idea of betting on yourself, when betting on yourself goes horribly wrong?
Yeah, I think it just triggers me because I feel like I've bet on myself a lot, and so far we're doing okay, but I'm worried that the next time it'll be like Dennis, where he had an $84 million contract extension offer from the Lakers, and then somehow ends up on the Celtics for 5.4. Is that correct?
Yes. 5.9, I think. Yeah.
So
he was offered $21 million a year, basically turned it down, and he's going to make $6 million in 1 year, and then basically try again because he signed a 1 year deal. So next year he's going to go through this whole deal again, where it's like, is somebody going to pay me $20 million?
How do that valuations? Like, I don't understand the story in the sense that, like, why would the Lakers be willing to give him that much, and then the Celtics that little? Like, what went wrong?
Basically, he was considered a decent player. when the Lakers got him, and he's still young-ish. He plays decent defense. There was reason to talk yourself into him being a good player. And then basically what happened is the playoffs this year, Anthony Davis was hurt, and the Lakers needed someone to step up, and they looked at Dennis Schröder and like, Dennis, please. And Dennis was like, I can't do this. He had a game where he scored 0 points, I think, against the Suns.
I do remember that.
And that's what basically submarines values. Everyone watched that and was like, oh, this guy sucks.
So he had the offer before the...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he turned down the offer because he was like, I'm going to kill it in the playoffs. And the exact opposite happened. And I don't know. This is like the this story reminds me of the parable. Is that the word I'm looking for? Of where they say that the guy is drowning and ships come by and he says, I don't need a ship, God will save me. And then he gets to heaven and God says, I sent 3 ships. Why didn't you get on any of them? That's what I feel like Dennis Schröder is like, no, I'm going to bet on myself. And it's like, dude, the betting on yourself got you to the point where you were offered $21 million. Like, that's the time to...
Like, if that, like, to me, that's like, whoa, this bet paid off way more than I expected it to. I better take this. You know what's weird, though, about the parable I have, in the past 2 days, this is now the 3rd time I have heard that from a separate place. Yeah, it was like... I heard it in regards to vaccines where someone was like, you know, they're like, oh, no, God will save me. And everyone's like, well, actually, like, what if the vaccine is God trying to save you? And then I read an interview with Jason Sudeikis in GQ where he told that story. And then you just said it, which are all completely 3 unrelated things. And I had never heard that before 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Being a nice Christian boy from the Midwest, that was...
well, being a Jewish coastal elite, Mark, it hasn't been in my vernacular.
That is that's a tried and true story you hear about.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about Dennis Schröder. Right. I guess the lesson, bet on yourself, but also if someone offers you an insane amount of money, take it. I guess that's the other lesson.
The lesson is bet on yourself, kind of, but it's also follow the money.
Follow the money.
My mom once said that to me. She was like, look, Char, I'm all for, you know, your dreams and everything, but like also just follow the money.
Cash is king. Cash rules everything around me.
There you go.
That's the advice we got to follow. Oh, the other thing I thought about that maybe we should talk about, maybe not. I don't know. Did you watch Hard Knocks? Did you watch the Hard Knocks premiere?
No, I haven't yet.
I didn't either.
Okay.
So I guess we're not going to talk about that.
I thought you were gonna have takes, and I was gonna be like, "What? I didn't know this was part of the plan."
I went to watch it last night, and it was 51 minutes, and I was like, "Man, if this would have been like 41 minutes, I think I hit play on it."
Yeah,
but it said 51, and I was like, "That's too much time to devote." I don't know what it is about that. Like, it's the deal where it's like you won't. This is not an original observation, but there's something in our brains where like we will not sit down and watch a 2.5 hour movie, or even a 2 hour movie, an hour and a half movie. Yeah. Like, what's on Netflix today? Oh, that movie's an hour and a half. No, I won't watch that. But I will watch 12 episodes of The Office. And you're like, wait a second.
Maybe we should cut the podcast up into like 12-minute segments. Yeah. And then people just listen to one after another after another. Also, maybe that'll up our downloads. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. But, you know, I didn't watch Hard Knocks because I feel like at some point we're going to have to talk about it. I always do love getting into Hard Knocks, but like we'll watch a few of them. And the reason I didn't watch it was because I had to catch up on The White Lotus on HBO Max. Have you watched that show?
I've not. I've been catching up on the OC as I that's been my
The White Lotus is a phenomenal television show. I am obsessed. I am absolutely obsessed with everybody in it. So that's, you know, watch that and we can talk about that.
All right, I'll watch that. I just finished season 1 of the OC. My season 1 report, Shailene Woodley. I got excited, remember, on the show where I was like, Shailene Woodley's on the show. She like basically didn't show up the rest of the season. She's on like the pilot and that was it. So I don't know. I was a bummer.
I'm gonna be honest. I forgot that she was in it at all because she wasn't like prominent in season 1. I can't remember what happens in the other seasons, but
I was ready to break down.
Is she supposed to be Misha Barton's sister?
She's Misha Barton's sister.
They don't look anything alike.
They don't look anything alike. That whole family I hate on that show. I hate
Julie
that whole
Cooper?
family, but the whole family is horrible. But not
I
just
love
like
Julie
bad
Cooper.
people, but like whatever. We don't need to talk about this. Hard Knocks. The one note I have is that apparently the one thing we can watch. I didn't see the clip. I've not watched any clips. I've just seen people talk about it. Charlotte, that Jerry Jones apparently gets a McGriddle and pours a ton of salt on the McGriddle and then eats it. And
Look,
That has my attention. That's all I
have
say.
also not seen that video, but I have heard about that video.
That's all.
From our social media guy, Wes, who before we started recording was like, hey, did you see the McGriddle thing? And I was like, no. And then he explained it to me. And I have to say, I've never related to Jerry Jones before. I relate to that. I put salt on everything. I love salt. I'm going to be the rare Jerry Jones defender here and say, go for it, man. I mean, not to brag, I have low blood pressure, so I really just live it up.
Oh my God. Speaking of Shailene Woodley, is there any Aaron Rodgers update we need to address?
Well,
before we...
there was gonna be,
really?
which is that he, our buddy Kevin Clark over at The Ringer, interviewed him about TV, and we were like, Kevin, please talk to us because we need a line to Aaron Rodgers. So update for the people, we're working on it.
So the update is that we talked to a guy who talked to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay, we're
Yesterday.
getting closer. We're getting
we
closer.
were in a text message thread with a guy who talked to Aaron Rodgers, and we'll see if we can make anything happen there.
We are getting
but
closer,
other than that,
folks. We are.
I don't have any.
Still
Do you
on
have
the
any
Packers.
Aaron Rodgers updates?
Yeah, he's still on the Packers. He has not retired yet. That's about it.
That's a tough look for us.
That's about all we got. Here's something that happened in the world of sports. Do you care about the NFL Hall of Fame? A bunch of guys went into the NFL Hall of Fame. Peyton Manning among them. We talked about it a little bit on Monday that his father, when Peyton Manning's bust was unveiled, I'm talking about the Hall of Fame bust. Not his...
When Peyton Manning flashed the crowd, his dad was so proud.
Peyton Manning showed us his bust, and what a bust it was. And his dad tapped his forehead.
Colt's gone wild.
His dad tapped the forehead. What else? Edgerrin James had a nice line where he said, "I started my career with gold teeth, and it ends with a gold jacket." Which do you think he wrote that, or do you think someone wrote that for him?
Who said that?
Edgerrin James.
I don't know. I feel like he could have come up. That seems something that he could have come up with himself.
Yeah, I think someone.
But
wrote
I don't know. I never know.
know.
The world is a lie. You know, it's.
Yeah.
Sons and Ford guy was probably a plant, so I don't trust anything anymore.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if I mean it happens with, like guys host the Oscars, they hire a writing team, or guys, you know, they hire whatever award shows have writing teams. If a football player like just put out the call, like Charles Woodson was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and the moment he finds out he's going to be inducted, he just goes on Twitter and he's like, looking for a great writing team to write me a great Hall of Fame.
Mark, here is a career pivot we should make. We are offering our services. Any sports figure going into any Hall of Fame, reach out. I have famously always wanted to give a graduation speech. Mark has famously always loved sports. Between the two of us, we will come up with some killer speech for you for a very low, reasonable price.
Yes. Just like basically let us come to the party. I think that's it. I think I would do it for that. I would write your speech if you just like let me come crash your party in Canton.
Yeah. Also, if you have a large social media following, please promote our podcast. One thing about what we said when we were talking about on Monday, we talked about how Peyton's dad, you know, tapped the forehead of his bust and how he was very sweaty with Tom Brady. And Tom Brady's best friend commented on that clip that we put on Instagram with a cry laughing emoji.
Tom Brady has friends? Who's his friend?
Yes, his name is Ben Rawitz. He's been his like right-hand man since, you know, forever in Boston. And I know this because I worked at Boston.com. And so I know absolutely everything about the intricacies of Tom Brady's life in Boston. And Ben, he commented, so perhaps Tom Brady has seen it.
Jesus, Charlie, get a grip.
Sorry. Can I tell you something so embarrassing? More embarrassing than that?
We talked to a guy who talked to Aaron Rodgers, and a guy who has Tom Brady's phone number double tapped an Instagram post of ours, and Charlotte is over there popping champagne bottles.
Can I tell you something so embarrassing? You know when you're falling asleep, and this is actually like, I can't believe I'm admitting this. You know when you're falling asleep and you're sort of in between being asleep and awake, and you think things that it's like starting to get a little weird, but also it's very much what's going on in your head. Last night, as I was falling asleep, I had the thought, I was thinking about the Hall of Fame and, you know, how Brady is now has been on 2 teams and how cool it would have been if he had only been on 1. And I had a thought to myself where I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe Tom Brady is on the Bucs. Like, what went wrong? I got so sad. I was like, remember the glory day? And then I fell asleep. But there was a moment where I was like, it hit me. that Tom Brady was not on the Patriots anymore. And I got very sad.
Yeah.
And then I fell asleep. But it happened.
That's kind of how I feel about all the guys the Cubs just traded. Is
Yes!
like seeing like Anthony Rizzo on the Yankees and Chris Bryant on the Giants and Javi Baez on the Mets, and I'm just like,
we never even talked about that, man.
This is weird. I'm not even like sad. I think I might just be in denial, or I just like watch it and I'm like, this is I think I made a wrong turn in the Matrix somewhere. How do I go back?
You're definitely in denial because Brady for a while. I was like, you know what? It's fine. Like, we're starting over. I was definitely I was protecting myself. And then, a year and a half later, I'm like, oh no, I miss him.
It finally hits you. Yeah. You were that's because you were celebrating the Super Bowl, Charlotte. You thought the Patriots won the Super Bowl last year because Tom Brady won.
And Gronk. It was very confusing.
Yeah, you and all the Patriots fans were like, we did it again, guys. And it's just now hitting you that, like, wait, when's the parade going through Boston? You're like, there is no parade in Boston. It was in Tampa. And you're like, what? No. Why would... what?
It was on boats in Florida. It wasn't on duck boats in Boston. It's awful.
The Hall of Fame, though, do you care? I'll put it that simply. How much do you care about this? How much do you care that... did you watch any of these speeches? Do you care about guys that got snubbed, guys that got in? Did someone get in that made you mad? You're like, how did that guy get in? He didn't have good enough numbers. How much do you care about this stuff?
So I think it's interesting because I don't care in terms of like the intricacies of, I don't have particularly strong thoughts on like, the criteria to get in. I care that it exists because I love these moments of sports, pomp and circumstance where these guys get up there and they give speeches and they reflect on their careers. And it's sort of like graduation for NFL players or whatever sport you're talking about. It's a very big deal. It's very nostalgic, that you feel like they should play Green Day's Good Riddance over a slideshow. But I have a take. My take is that we don't there's no reason you shouldn't let someone into the Hall of Fame. That is my take. My take is that if you are famous enough that people are arguing over whether you should or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, just let the person in. My God. It's so arbitrary already. Just like if you like, people are like, oh, Julian Edelman, not a Hall of Fame player. Like, I don't know about Eli Manning. Like, are you kidding me? Those guys are so famous. Like, put them in the Hall of Fame. No one's like, just like, I'm like, it upsets me.
Your criteria is if you have a Wikipedia page, you should be in the Hall of Fame. If you're famous,
I can't be in the Hall of Fame. My Wikipedia page belongs to a dead poet from the 1900s. Like, I can't go into the Hall of Fame, but if someone wants to fix that, then I'll be in.
If you're notable enough to have a Wikipedia page, it is you should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Done.
That's all I'm saying. What do you think?
I don't disagree. I find myself this conversation puts me back into the endless cycle of talking about retired jerseys where I'm like Hall of Fames are stupid. We don't need them, but it is, I guess, important to have, like, to remember, some of the legends. Like, that's cool that we honor the legends, but I guess where do you draw the line? I guess it is important. I guess we do need to have a line because you can't just let anybody in, but at the same time, and then I just talk myself in circles and I have no idea where I land. As it pertains to like the festivities, I gotta be honest, I kind of don't care. Yeah. Like I have never once watched the Hall of Fame speeches of any sport ever. I enjoy the highlights. I enjoy the Edgerrin James line. I enjoy Peyton Manning showing us his bust. I enjoy seeing all of that, I guess. But like it really hits me that I kind of just don't. I care about the players when they're on the field, I guess, and then like, as they're older and they're standing there in a jacket giving us a speech, I'm like, I suddenly don't care about Peyton Manning anymore. You know what made me care about Peyton Manning is if I got in a time machine and went back to 2005 and he was playing for the Colts and he was trying to win a Super Bowl. That would make me care more than what's happening right now. And I wish that wasn't the case about me, but I think that's ultimately where I land on this stuff, because I don't care about even like Michael Jordan got inducted into the, if there's one Hall of Fame speech to watch, it was Michael Jordan throwing haymakers at everybody. The greatest basketball player of all time was calling out like his junior high coaches. Right. That was a great moment, great speech, whatever. I didn't watch. I didn't care. I don't know.
So I watched by accident because ESPN was on the Michael Jordan one. I didn't seek it out. I didn't watch this year's Hall of Fame either in the NFL, to be honest. But I think the problem, first of all, I still care about what happened. Like, I still do love the highlights, like you said. You know, I love the picture of Tom Brady with Tony Dungy where they look like they're wax figures at Madame Tussauds, like, come to life in some horror movie, and the flashlights are shining under their face. And real quick, while we're on the, I mean, look at that picture. Like, while we're on the subject, I am careful about coming at this too hard because I know that there is going to probably already exist a picture of me where people are like, she looks like she's in a horror movie. And so I just want to be careful about what I say here because that's going to come back to bite me when I look like an absolute lunatic.
Yeah.
But my point is that
at the same time, I think it's easy to not look like a lunatic in a picture like right? I don't know.
I mean,
it's not like this was a candid shot. It's not like, you know, like they were like, Tom, look at the camera and smile. They're like, yeah.
I know, but like maybe they were stressed out. I don't know.
Have you never had a picture taken of you before? It's amazing.
It's also hilarious that Tom Brady and Tony Dungy being like, no, we're pals now. But
yeah.
I think the problem with the Hall of Fame in terms of people watching and caring is that it's not like these guys go away for a while. It's not like, you know, I loved the Friends reunion because we hadn't seen all those people together forever since, you know, 2004. And so I was very excited to watch them all get back together. We see Peyton in every Nationwide commercial.
Right.
We see Peyton in his details show. It's not like you're bringing people back to be like, oh, what happened to that guy? You know, they're very, if you're famous enough to be in the Hall of Fame, like you don't stop being famous once you stop playing sports.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
So I think that takes away some of the excitement over watching it, although it does make it fun. So are you
saying like the gap, we wait 5 years? I think it's 5 years, right? When your career ends and you wait 5 years and then you're eligible. Mm-hmm. You're saying it should be like 50.
Yes.
It should be 50 years. 15. Okay. What about like 100? What if like you have to die first?
Then no one would really care.
No one would.
How do you feel though about like stats, about the argument of should this guy be in because he wasn't good enough or he was good enough? Like what are your thoughts about that?
Just what do you mean? How do you mean? Like
do you think Julian Edelman should be in the Hall of Fame?
I think my thoughts on Hall of, do I think Julian Edelman? It all comes back to Patriots.
No. I said that as a joke. Like, what are your? How do you feel about the criteria or gatekeeping the Hall of Fame?
It is Hall of Fame. If I am put in charge of gatekeeping the Hall of Fame, I would put zero thought into it. It would just be like an instinct. It'd be like a reflex. It'd be like when my doctor would hit me on the knee and I'd have the quickest reflexes in the Midwest, and I kick my foot up real quick. I was like, Doc, you got a stopwatch out? That's a record. That would be me with these decisions where what was the senator who said like the define porn is like I'll know it when I see it type deal.
Yeah,
that's me with Hall of Fame players. Like it's just a feeling. Julian Edelman, okay. No. You want me to expand on it? I can't. He's not a Hall of Fame player.
But he's so famous.
He's famous because like he played with Hall of Fame players. Are you gonna put Luke Longley in the Basketball Hall of Fame too? He was famous. No. He was on the 98 Bulls. I mean, come on.
I don't even know who that is. Yeah, okay. I see what you mean.
I, as a Boston fan, know who a guy is that plays for my team, but I don't know the guy who plays for other teams. So therefore,
obviously,
my guy
come on. What are you talking about? You said something yesterday, though, when we were talking about the show that I have not been able to get out of my head, and that this is why I was thinking about Tom Brady on both the Patriots and the Bucs, which is that in baseball, guys have to retire with a team. So they'll sign like one-day contracts so that when they go into the Hall of Fame, they are inducted as a member of that team. But NFL players don't do that. And it was sort of strange to see the Broncos celebrating Peyton as much as the Colts were celebrating Peyton, because I don't think he did as much. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's stupid, the baseball way, isn't it?
Do you think? Oh, see, I love it.
I think it's stupid. I think it's because hats are so prominent in baseball that you can't make a bust of or what do they make plaques in baseball? Whatever. Or am I thinking of the Yankees situation and they But you can't make like a carving of a guy without him having a hat on, basically, in baseball, because it's so synonymous. Like, we only see this guy in a hat at all times. And then I guess why can't you just make a blank hat? Why do we need a logo
put
on a
helmets on football guys in their bus?
Yeah. Every bus just has like you can just see the eyes.
You can't tell who the person is.
LaDainian Tomlinson goes to the Hall of Fame. He's got his visor on. You can't. It might as well be you or I behind the helmet and visor.
Right, and then it would make the bus cheaper because they wouldn't have to customize them. They could just like fudge the eyes a little bit. No, I mean, I guess you're right about the hats, but I love that you have to go in with the team. It's like pick your legacy, man. Like, what mattered the most to you? Like Tom Brady. Okay, are you a Patriot or are you a Buck? Because that's what you got to be forever once you're in the Hall of Fame.
In these times of divisiveness in this country, Charlotte, can't there be a gray area? Shouldn't we encourage a gray area? Shouldn't we encourage a guy who has a great career with one team and a great career with another team? The tail end of his career is with the other team, and he wins a couple of rings, I guess. Shouldn't we encourage bringing those together and not making him make a decision so that way it alienates the other team?
Are you arguing for like nuance and cooperation in 2021?
Yeah. Right?
Absolutely not. No, this is sports, Mark. This isn't a sit around in a circle and hold hands. This is about winning. No, I just think that the reason that I'm so vehemently for this is I think that it's kind of fun to see where guys end up, like what meant the most to them, you know? But I also think that in sports media, we need as many things to argue about and disagree with each other on as possible. And if you add a layer where NFL players have to go in as a certain team member, then that gives you at least 2 or 3 weeks in the summer of content when you otherwise wouldn't have it.
I'm trying to think of the best example of a guy. I probably should have prepped for this. What's the best example of an athlete who had like basically Hall of Fame careers on 2 separate teams? Like, if you look at just his time with the, I was trying
to think of that
where it actually would be a debate, because like most of the guys, it's pretty obvious. Like Peyton Manning's a Colt. Like, sorry, Denver fans, he played most of his career in Indianapolis. By the time you guys got him, his neck was dead, and he just throwing duck balls out there, and Von Miller was carrying him to a Super Bowl. You know, like that's what it is. I'm trying to think of like other examples. Maybe LeBron's an answer, but then LeBron is with LeBron's is more like Cavs, not Cavs. Like Kobe had 2 Hall of Fame careers where he was like number 8 and number 24, but he was both with the Lakers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know. But I mean, I think you just know it when you see it, even with a guy like LeBron. You know, it's your reflex that, like, he built a school in Ohio. He's all about being from Ohio. His whole thing is like, I'm a kid from Akron. Like, it's not, I feel like I can't think of anyone where even if they split their time equally, there wasn't a clear.
I guess, like, boy, this is not a
hard.
Great example. But
can you guys write in? Can you email the People's Sports Podcast?
Yeah, that's a great one. Who's a guy that like legitimately would have a toss up in terms of which team he should go in with if you had to pick one team that the guy represents, and it's actually an argument to be made. What about like Kevin Garnett, who was individually better probably with the Timberwolves, but I think most people associate him as a Celtic.
That's a good one.
He won the title, and he was still good with the Celtics.
That's a good one. I'm going to say that he's obviously a Celtic, though, because I'm...
No!
I mean, maybe it's what fan base argues the most passionately. Maybe that's how you do it.
Is there a single guy that had more than a cup of coffee in Boston that Boston fans would be like, oh, okay, yeah, you can take him? Like, Boston fans are claiming Babe Ruth, probably. They're like, we
Pablo
had him first.
Sandoval.
We had Babe Ruth first.
They'd be like...
And then we traded him to you guys. You would have been nothing without us. Babe Ruth.
You know who we definitely wouldn't have? We wouldn't have Mookie.
Mookie, yeah.
He wouldn't. That's a good one. He would never choose Boston.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, if you're a Major League Baseball player and you're given a choice to live in Boston or Los Angeles, it's not a terribly difficult choice. You pick Boston.
A human being, right?
God damn it.
What are we doing here? What about like broader Hall of Fame thoughts? Like where does the Pro Football Hall of Fame in your mind? I tell you, Charlotte, I had a great career. I was a 3-sport athlete. I did it all. I'm a legend.
Yeah.
And coincidentally, yesterday, I just got 3 phone calls. They're putting me in the Basketball Hall of Fame, the Baseball Hall of Fame, and the Football Hall of Fame, all at the same time.
Congrats, that's huge.
Which one are you like, oh my God, you're going to be in the blank Hall of Fame?
I would say I would be way more impressed by someone getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame than I would be with NBA or NFL, because baseball, it feels like, guys have, 5 years to get in that they're on the ballot for, and then you don't have a chance anymore, and you get voted in by writers who are notoriously assholes. So like, you are at the mercy of the worst people.
Tom Verducci is going to make a video of him.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God.
When Tom Verducci was like, the weight I carry in my hands is this is the most significant thing. Our ancestors stormed the beaches of Normandy. But that is nothing compared to me deciding, does Barry Bonds deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes, right. No, it's a huge response. They invaded Normandy so that Tom Verducci could one day keep Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame. And I say this as a colleague of Tom Verducci, both now at Fox Sports and previously at Sports Illustrated. Great respect for the man. I think that it seems hardest. There are more baseball players, I feel like, who don't get in when... Like, if Barry Bonds were in the NFL, even if there had been all the steroid stuff, like, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
The NFL would be like, seriously, man, come here. We want to give you a gold jacket. And baseball is like, oh, sorry, you broke the sacred rules. Like, no thanks.
Yeah,
I don't know. What do you think?
What Hall of Fame cares about cheating the least?
NFL. Oh, my God.
The NFL.
Tom Brady's going to be in there. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. WWE's up there, Charlotte. I've seen a lot of shenanigans from some of these wrestlers that some of these guys just really don't play by the rules at all, Charlotte. Some of these guys, when the ref turns his head, they use foreign objects you're not supposed to use, and they still made the Hall of Fame. I don't understand it. It's disgusting.
There's no purity. There's no purity in sports anymore. What can I say?
Wouldn't that be great if like the WWE, there were WWE voters, there were guys that were like, I will not put... Like Eddie Guerrero's is one that comes to mind. Eddie Guerrero used to say cheat to win or whatever. And they're like, we are not putting Eddie Guerrero in because he cheated in all of his matches.
Is there someone who's pure enough in WWE that they would be in the Hall of Fame without cheating? Like they haven't ever cheated in...
like Hulk Hogan probably. I mean, that's
right?
like he eats his vitamins and salutes the American flag and... does flying leg drops. They'd be like, please, sir.
He's the only one in the WWE Hall of Fame, just Hulk Hogan.
And then, his personal life is like a train wreck. It's like...
They're like, please, don't look behind the curtain.
Terry Bollea, not so much. Hulk Hogan, come on down.
Please.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think baseball is probably the one that's the most prestigious, and I think it is because all the people, all the baseball writers have made it that way. I think all the conversation around baseball has made it so hard to get into. And as you said, like if you're not voted in immediately, you could just feel it's like you have a grasp on your candidacy and it's just slowly slipping out of your hands, and you have to slowly watch it go. And has the guys that did steroids not getting in, has that devalued the Hall of Fame in your eyes? That, the Baseball Hall of Fame? Because like it's obvious that some of these guys belong in the sense that they were the best players. Now they're not in, but they did cheat, Charlotte. They cheated.
Yeah, but everyone was cheating.
Yeah, but
okay.
So don't let any of them in.
Whenever I start defending cheaters in sports, I'm like, I am on very thin ice here.
Everyone was deflating the footballs, you guys.
They're the only ones who got caught, okay? It was the ball boys in the bathroom. It wasn't Tom Brady. No. I mean...
Deflator was a nickname that they used for... What was the
name of a play call, okay?
Boston. No, if I ever have a scandal in my life, I'm going to just turn to Boston sports fans and have them help me talk my way out of this.
Dude, we have got your back. Do you
remember when Kevin Garnett called Charlie Villanueva a cancer patient, and then because he has alopecia, and then
that is so awful. I forgot about that.
No, and then the story Kevin Garnett put forth was that I didn't call him a cancer patient. I said that he's cancerous to his team and our league. And then all the Boston people were like, what's the problem? That seems like good trash talk to me. Everyone just bought it.
Boston, everyone in Boston is just like, every sports fan in Boston is one bar fight away from like getting booked for the night. So I think that we have a real impulse to just defend people. We're like, could be me. Could be me. You never know.
I mean, imagine Kevin Garnett say that, like, hey, bro, you're cancerous to our team in the league.
Like, never. No.
Anyway.
Could never happen.
You're defending cheaters. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, I don't think it has devalued the Hall of Fame. I think it is an example of something happening in sports that people don't know how to process because it mucks up the gears of the whole system.
Yeah.
And so they're like, wow, we've never had to deal with, should we let someone who was, caught using steroids into the Hall of Fame before? And then because we're in sports and everything is like mildly inept, it just sort of snowballs into this huge discussion when it could have just been like a blanket, you guys can come in or you can't. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's still weird that we're doing it based on individuals as opposed to, an overall statement about the thing. Does it? I mean, I don't know. Do you think has it devalued it to you? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think it is a little weird because, like Barry Bonds is maybe the greatest baseball player who ever walked the face of the earth. With steroids, steroids didn't make him good. He was already one of the greatest players of all time. Steroids made him a superhero. Steroids just made him it just took him from good to I have to watch every single pitch this guy takes because I've never seen anything like this in my life. So to hear guys making it into the Hall of Fame and know that Pete Rose and Barry Bonds and Alex Rodriguez and all sorts of other guys aren't. Sammy Sosa's not going to be in, and Mark McGwire and all those guys aren't in. It does feel weird because it's like, well, how much are we now introducing a political part to this whole process where it's like if you're a likable guy, you'll get in. If you're not likable, so what are we actually judging? And has that opened Pandora's box? I don't think so, Charlotte, because I think at the end of the day, these guys did cheat. And if there has to be some sort of consequences for your actions, but it is weird to it is weird to think that there could be some day where if you could field a team with guys not in the Hall of Fame and they could beat the Hall of Fame All-Stars. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's a great point. That is a great point,
That feels
Mark.
bizarre.
No, it really doesn't check out. I think that, I think for me, the biggest wrench in the MLB Hall of Fame system that I can't really defend is as I'm sitting here being like, Barry Bonds should be in, I'm like, under no circumstances should you let Curt Schilling into the Hall of Fame because he is a garbage person. And then it's like, well, he was good at baseball, so what do you what leg do you have to stand on? And that's the one that breaks my brain because I'm like,
Also, Charlotte, I hate to be the one to tell you this. I really, really do.
He's not good enough to be in the Hall of Fame.
No, there maybe debatably,
no,
arguably,
you're gonna say
already be one garbage person at least in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Curt Schilling is just so
there
publicly...
might be one. I don't know. We'd have to run the numbers and see, but there might be some guys who weren't the best.
All right. Fair. Do you have any more NFL Hall of Fame thoughts?
Yeah. Number one, it's called the Pro Football Hall of Fame. How many guys from the Canadian? It's not called the NFL Hall of Fame. How many guys from the Canadian League are in? How many guys from the Arena League are in? How many guys from NFL Europe have made it in?
The XFL,
the XFL. Is
the
he
AFL?
Does he hate me in the Hall of Fame? No. Then what are we doing here?
Wow.
Also, did you know that only one ref in football history has made it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Whereas
I didn't know that.
The other sports put in refs all the time, but NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has only put in one. And the guy who got in, it was in 1966. The guy who got in, I think he got in less because he was a ref and more because he was a guy who overhauled the rule book of football. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Ed Hockley. It wasn't like he was the Ed Hockley of his day, and it was like, we loved the way you announced.
We loved your vibe.
Yeah. We loved when you would explain a review how
we liked your muscles.
Yeah. You were entertaining when you would say whatever. Right. It was because the guy invented a bunch of rules, I guess. So
wow.
That's interesting, right?
I didn't know that.
So,
I mean, it's also interesting that other leagues just put refs in regularly. Can you imagine the day that Scott Foster gets into the NBA Hall of Fame? I mean, it is happening. He's been around for a very long time. He's going to be in there. It's going to be... We need to put more attention on the refs who get into the NBA, and we need to get more NFL refs into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting just the selection process in general with these things, and like the Basketball Hall of Fame will put in active coaches, which I find kind of weird.
Wait,
That
oh,
it feels
I forgot about that.
it feels like every year a college basketball coach who's still coaching gets put in the Hall of Fame, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, this is bizarre. But it happens.
It's also weird that in basketball you can have college and NBA, and
Yes.
football is the pro football,
just
and then there's the
pro.
college football Hall of Fame.
Right, right. But there actually no, there is a college basketball Hall of Fame, but nobody cares about it. It's like in Kansas City.
Oh, really? Yes. Yeah, I didn't even know.
It's so weird. There's too many Hall of Fames. Did you know baseball? I looked this up today. Baseball is the only of the four major sports: hockey, baseball, football, basketball. Baseball is the only Hall of Fame without a controversy or criticism section on its Wikipedia page.
No way. I
Yeah.
feel like baseball has the biggest
Right?
ones.
They must be
Well,
scrubbing
what were the? I don't even know if I want to know.
Oh, it's just like their selection process, how they
Oh, okay.
go about in football, they let some bad guys in, if you will, some guys that may or may not have criminal records.
Yep.
They don't discriminate, but at least like in all honesty, I at least that's a point of view, and I respect that at least. Like if football,
Right,
if the
where
NFL
you're-
comes out,
yeah.
I was like, we don't care what you did as a human being. We care about how good you are at football. At least it's consistent.
We're
at least it's a point
consistent.
of view. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a thing. So whatever.
It
but-
doesn't shock me though, because I feel like baseball is the most likely to have an intern go in there and clean up the Wikipedia page.
Yeah,
They're like, this is part of the
absolutely.
unwritten rules. Like
Yes.
someone's got to fix this. And
This
so
is-
every day an intern goes in and takes out the controversy section. Like that's our first task every morning because it just gets put back.
The controversy section is like on the Baseball Hall of Fame would be like someone spray painting "God is dead" on a church to baseball people. And they're like, we have to clean that. Does anybody have a power washer? Let's clean this up. It's like sacred. Baseball Hall of Fame is the most sacred thing in sports
Yes.
to those people.
Yes,
So
totally.
we have to defend it. What's your have you are you a Hall of Fame person in terms of a tourist? If you're in
God, no.
town and I tell you there's a Hall of Fame down the road, and I was like, you got to check out the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Are you swinging by to see it in Charlotte?
Well, okay, that's an interesting example because the NASCAR Hall of Fame is the only one that I've actually been to.
It's awesome.
I
love
had
the
some
NASCAR Hall of
time to
Fame.
kill in Charlotte, and I was just like, I loved it. I looked at all the cars. I'm basically a boy toddler because I love trains, cars, and boats. And like, you could give me a toy car, and I would be entertained for a long. So I went to over the pandemic. I went to the transportation museum up in Maine.
I was just at Children's Museum.
Well, I went with children, so essentially, but no, I mean, to tell you how little I care about Hall of Fames that don't have methods of transportation in them. My dad's family had growing up. He went to Cooperstown every summer, and there's like a big family, a bunch of different houses on the lake that different family members had. I went there probably 10 years in a row when I was growing up. Never once went to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And I have driven by the Baseball Hall of Fame. Like literally you can see the sign for it in Western Massachusetts in Springfield numerous times. And I have never been compelled to stop. So I think that tells you how much. But I do think that if I were in Canton, Ohio, what else would I be doing there?
Now, hang on a second.
What else is in Canton, Mark?
Oh, there's not a lot.
What do you do there?
There's not
you
a
know?
lot.
Is there a lake? Because in Cooperstown, there's a lake.
There's not a lot. There's Lake Erie, not too far away. They got little ponds and lakes throughout Ohio, but yeah, you're right. There's not.
I think I feel like the NFL does such a good job putting on a show that I would very much enjoy.
There's a mall in Canton. You can go there.
Cool.
So
Have you been to Halls of Fames?
Oh yeah. I go just to I go as like a critic. I don't go as a fan. I'm not there because I'm like I want to see. I go as I crack my knuckles and I said, show me what you got. Like I'm hard to please. The Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame is not bad. I would say it's like an average Hall of Fame. It is definitely worth going to. It is worth the price of admission. I was not wowed at any point, but I enjoyed my time there, and I was like, I'm glad I did this. This was not a waste of time, but this is not something I would encourage people like don't go out of your way. If you're in Cleveland, don't make a trip to Canton just to go to that. If you're in Canton, maybe make the trip.
All right. Okay.
If you find yourself in Canton looking for something to do, go to the Hall of Fame. If you find yourself in Columbus and you're like, yeah, I'm going to swing up 2 hours and go to Canton, don't do that. Big mistake. Don't do that.
All right.
But yeah, I've not been to the baseball one. The basketball one sucks. The Naismith one is horrible in Springfield.
Why?
It's just like boring. It's like okay. There's like nothing interesting about it.
There are no cars there.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, you know what basketball one? You know what, I genuinely believe this, and this is the homer in me talking, but like I swear to God, this is true. The Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame is insane in Newcastle, Indiana. Where they just it's all about basketball in the state of Indiana. It is insane. It will blow your mind.
What's insane about it? What's so cool about it?
It has like the memorabilia that they have in there. The displays. It's big. It's there's like a little section for like every Indiana basketball legend, and it has like all this cool stuff. I don't know. It's very cool. They
is
do a
your
good
mom
job
in the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
She doesn't have a section though. She just has like a plaque hanging up the. But
that's way more than most people have anywhere. I mean, what it comes down to is that halls of fame are sports museums, and I love museums, and I care very much. I want them to show me the weirdest, most obscure stuff possible. Like, I want to see what the first basketball hoop ever looked like.
You're exactly right. And I think that's why I like the Indiana basketball one is because if you are someone who's like, why does basketball matter in the state of Indiana? That seems bizarre. That doesn't add up. Like this tiny ass state in the Midwest cares a lot about, I don't get, you go there, you'll walk away and be like, I get it now, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what you have to do with Hall of Fames is like, why do people care about football? I want to go in, you teach me everything. It does a good job, but
this is why this sport matters. Yes. And the people here are worth checking out.
You know what else was a good one? I went to the hockey one in Toronto. It was pretty awesome.
The hockey one's in Toronto?
Hockey one was awesome.
That feels right.
I think maybe just because they had a deal where you could like just take slap shots. They had like an exhibit where it was just like you walk into the cage and they slide pucks to you and you can just slap shot them. So I think I just did that for 2 hours and I was like, I love this Hall of Fame. What a great
this is the greatest Hall of Fame. You know what I have been to that the NFL put on? The NFL Experience in Times Square. It's not even a Hall of Fame. It's like they have a whole movie theater where you sit in the chairs and the chairs like rock you around as though you're in the football game. And I felt wildly motion sick afterwards. But it snows. There's like fake snow for snow games. It's incredible. It's absolutely amazing.
The chairs shake as though you're in the football game.
Getting rocked on a football field.
Interesting.
And they like move. It feels like you're in a spaceship. I did feel really. You need to take Dramamine before you go.
This is a great brand for us, I think, is we should go to NFL experience. We should go to experiences and halls of fame and critique them and review them. And
yes,
start a YouTube
absolutely.
series.
Once this college football tour is over, it's the Hall of Fame tour.
We go to all the weird because you know how many Hall of Fames exist in this country. There are.
I'm obsessed with this idea, Mark.
I was doing research today. I was like pulling up weird Hall of Fames, and there are thousands of halls of like just bizarre stuff that you would never care about. I went to the handball Hall of Fame. So handball.
Where is that?
It's in Tucson, Arizona. There's a
okay.
So handball is always a fun sport in the Olympics. Every time the Summer Olympics come around, it feels like a large section of this country is like, what is this sport? This is insane. People looks like people are yelling, "This is Sparta!" as they jump up and like throw a handball into a net. This is awesome. So one year, my buddy went to the University of Arizona out in Tucson. I go visit him from time to time, and one year it must have been an Olympics year. We were watching handball. We're like, handball's sick, and my buddy found out that the Handball Hall of Fame is in Tucson. So we're like, oh, we should go. We should learn it because, as you said, you want to learn about the sport. Tell me why the sport matters, the history of the sport, everything else. We pay for the entrance fee, whatever, with $5, $10, something like that. It was not a lot. We walk into the building, and it took us like 10 minutes, embarrassingly, because we're stupid, to realize it's a completely different handball. There are two handballs. There's the handball in the Olympics where they're throwing the ball into the net. This one was basically racquetball without a racket.
Oh, like what you played on the playground when you didn't have any equipment and you would just. I loved that sport, by the way. That is a fun ass sport.
You're in a tiny room and you're just hitting a blue ball against the wall. So like we were stuck there, and obviously they don't get a lot of foot traffic at this place. No. So this volunteer lady who's working the Handball Hall of Fame. God. She's like, oh my God, people, and she like just takes us around. And I just want to blow my brains out because I'm like, this is the most boring thing I've ever seen in my life.
And you paid money to be there.
I paid money, and this lady's like so excited. So I get like stuck on this tour of like a handball, and I was like, oh my God, you hit the ball against the wall. I get it, lady. Like, where's the cool shit? Where's the guy like throwing curveballs and trying to get him into the net and stuff like that?
Oh no. You know what I want to go to? That makes me think we need to find where the Highlight Hall of Fame is.
What's that?
Have you ever seen Highlight before?
Oh, what? I'm Googling it right now.
Oh my gosh. It's a sport where it was big in Miami in the 70s where you have this sort of curved, like those fetch it things. It's spelled JIAALIA, I think.
Highlight.
See if that comes up.
How confident are you in that? And then
extremely
your pronunciation
not.
Okay.
No, pronunciation, yes. Spelling, no.
Okay, I've seen. This looks
vaguely familiar. They just whip balls at a wall at like 170 miles per hour. Like you could die playing the sport, and it was like very big among the mafia. Like bankrolled it in Miami in the 70s. No, I'm serious. Like Whitey Bulger like put a bunch of money, I'm pretty sure, into. It's incredible. So we need to find where that Hall of Fame is because I bet that is a wild. Hall of Fame. But I am so all in on this. We got to find Dos Equis. If you are interested in pursuing your business plans with us, here's another tour idea.
Another pitch. Oh, by the way, this Hall of Fame exists. The America's Cup Hall of Fame.
Where? Newport.
America's Cup. If
New
you're
York.
It's got to be in New York, right? America's
Oh my God!
Cup.
If it's in, I hope it's in like a very remote area and it's a warehouse with actual boats, like the full boat in the museum.
All right,
boat museums are so cool.
The Hall of Fame. Where is the America's Cup Hall of Fame? Where? How does it not even tell me where this thing is? America's
I don't know. Are
Cup.
you using Google correctly?
I am. I just search America's Cup Hall of Fame, and then it just like you're supposed to just know. It's one of those deals. If you have to ask.
Well, that feels very sailing-y to me. It's like if you know, you know. If you don't, we're not going to tell you.
Yeah. America's located in Bristol, Rhode Island. How about that?
Hell yeah. Okay, we're making a trip.
You know who was in the inaugural class in 1993 though? A man by the name of
Sir Thomas Lipton.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
He was in it.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
He never won.
The biggest loser of all time.
I guess it just shows if you are persistent, if you name 6 boats, Shamrock, you too can be in.
We got to go to the America's Cup Hall of Fame and talk to the guy that runs it about. We should start a campaign to remove Thomas Lipton from the Hall of Fame.
A change.org petition. I legitimately think, Mark, that this would be an unbelievable TV show. Like, send us to Hall of Fames. We'll give you the history. I would be very interested to learn. Like, we'll make it an actual documentary. Okay, move over, Rosenbaum. We've got a new pitch coming.
Before we pivot to what's next,
yes.
we'll end the Hall of Fame thing with this. I want to play a game with you.
Okay.
Where I don't know how much thought you've given to the exclusivity. Ooh, tough word. Let me try that again.
Yikes.
Exclusivity. Yep. I don't know how
special.
Much...
Let's go. I don't know how much thought you gave to how special.
How hard it is to get into these halls of fame. So I am going to play a game with you where you tell me which number is greater. Okay?
I'm bad at math, so this will.
Which number is greater, Charlotte? Is the game here?
Okay.
Pro Football Hall of Fame inductees. Or episodes of The Secret Life of the American Teenager starring Shailene Woodley.
Oh my God. Pro Football Hall of Fame inductees.
Pro Football Hall of Fame. There are 353 people, according to my research, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There are 121 episodes for your viewing pleasure.
That is more episodes than I would have expected, I'll be honest.
Yeah, of a show that I did not know existed until I Googled Shailene Woodley today.
I didn't either, actually. The Secret Life of that was Shailene Woodley?
The Secret Life of the American Teenager is what it's called, yeah.
We should watch this.
Yeah,
Let's start a side podcast where we break down every episode of The Secret Life of the American Teenager with Shailene Woodley.
What if we just did it on this podcast one week where we started talking about like Aaron Rodgers and Shailene Woodley, and then it just became all that. And like everyone listening is like, oh, they do this every week. They talk about Rodgers and Woodley. I'm sure, just give it 10 minutes, and I'm sure they'll get to the good stuff about the NBA or about NFL, whatever. And we just never do. And it's just all about.
Or hear me out. If we want more episodes to up our download rate, we do the mailbag on Monday, the normal show Wednesday, and then Friday we break down the latest episode that we're on of the American Secret Life. Okay. Sorry.
Okay. I got another one for you. Daytona 500 races all time. Just the number of races that have been run that have been called the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
Or NASCAR Hall of Fame inductees.
Daytona races.
62 Daytona 500s. 58 people in the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
I feel this is the first game you've played with me that I feel like I might have a shot at winning.
You're doing well so far. 58 people in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. That's pretty crazy. That feels like
exclusive.
That feels like an elite club. No hitters.
One more thought on the NASCAR Hall of Fame. It's very, very hard to win repeatedly at NASCAR. Yeah. I think that it might be the hardest sport to be good at, to be honest. Because there are all these $40 million cars racing against each other, and anything can go wrong in severe fashion at any time. And there are 36 cars racing at once?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's tough. And so I think that to be consistent, to win more than one NASCAR race or Cup Series is like a huge deal, actually. And so I think that might be why.
Okay. So they're only allowing like people that have won a lot of races. And it's already hard to.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
All right. Congrats on knowing something about car racing.
I'm making the Tony Dungy face as you're talking. I'm just like, all right.
I'm just showing off. Sorry, I know a lot about NASCAR. It's not a big deal.
Great Hall of Fame, though. I'll say it again. NASCAR Hall of Fame is a lot of fun. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Go to it if you're in Charlotte.
See, that'll be one of we'll start off the series with the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
We'll do a Hall of Fame. That should be the series. It's like the Hall of Fame, and do we induct the Hall of Fame into our Hall of Fame?
Oh my god! And we get to plan
Fame.
how exclusive ours is. Like we could, at the end of it, the last episode is we sit down and we induct.
And we do Tom Verducci. We do the Tom Verducci video.
Yes.
And we're like handball Hall of Fame. Absolutely not.
Nope, no way. Yep. We love awesome. The Indiana basketball one, so definitely.
Indiana basketball one.
The Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame.
All right. Which number's bigger? No hitters all time in the history of baseball, in the history of Major League Baseball, I'm sorry, versus baseball Hall of Fame inductees.
Ooh. This one's tough. I'm gonna go with baseball inductees.
Baseball, look at you, 3 for 3.
Wow, okay.
333 people are in the Baseball Hall of Fame. 312 all-time no-hitters.
Holy moly! Yeah. Oh, the reason that I thought, because there've been a lot of no-hitters this year, and it's been a huge deal because people are like, these don't happen that often.
Yep, it's getting closer. I wonder how much longer that will be. But there's always more guys going in the Hall of Fame, so
it's a race against time.
Let's keep an eye on that one, folks.
Okay.
People who have been to NASA's definition of space or Naismith Hall of Fame inductees.
Naismith Hall of Fame inductees.
No, people who have been to space. 562 people have been to NASA's definition of space.
That many people have been to
Jeff
space?
Jeff Bezos, I don't know if he's one of them. I think he is, right? Because
they changed the rules for him.
He changed the rules.
He lobbied Congress to make space a little bit lower.
Space is wherever Jeff Bezos is standing at this moment.
We are in space. We're in space.
Congratulations, Jeffrey Bezos. 562 space people, 410 in the Basketball Hall of Fame, which is a lot. There's a lot of Basketball Hall of Fame. Songs written by Bob Dylan versus Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
How are you so good at making these games? Like, don't let it go to your head, but I am very impressed.
Songs written by Bob Dylan or Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees?
Songs written by Bob Dylan.
Songs written by Bob Dylan by a lot. I didn't even find an exact number. It just said over 600.
Yeah, he's prolific. He keeps coming out with new albums that I don't listen to because I'm like, play the hits, Bob.
But I thought the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame let a lot of people in, which they kind of do, but it's 351 inductees.
That is less people than I expected.
Maybe it's not people. Maybe it's like 351 bands, so it's actually like thousands of people. I don't know.
The Beach Boys are in there, but Brian Wilson alone is not.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
All right, I got three more.
right.
All-time medal count for the United States in the Summer Olympics, in the history of the Summer Olympics. Any
Okay.
medal that the United States has won versus the number of stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the
Which
hardest one
number
yet.
is bigger?
I'm gonna go with my instinct and say the Olympics is bigger, but I'm not confident about that.
This one is very, very close, and it's hilarious. The answer is the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The United States has won 2,636 medals. The Hollywood Walk of Fame has 2,699.
Okay, so
stars.
the Walk of Fame means nothing.
It means nothing. It means
We can start there. We can start our series with a quick visit to the Walk of Fame and be like, this means nothing. We're going to go somewhere that does. And then we go to the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame.
There you go. Perfect. Two more. People
Wait.
inducted. Okay, what?
How do you get a star on there?
You just buy it. You just pay for it. I think it's
Can we-
literally that. I think
Could we
it's-
get?
That's a
Could we
great
petition
question.
to get a star?
That's a great question. Great question. I don't think
All
we're
right,
going to be able
we're-
to get on it if we shit all over it during our
They
Hall
don't
of Fame
listen to
tour.
this, but
Yeah,
this
that's
is a
true.
sports
That's
podcast.
That's
And they'll
true.
take Hollywood takes your money. It doesn't matter. They'll be like,
Yeah,
sure,
that's true,
you
too.
hate us, fine, pay us. We love you.
You want to talk about like horrible people in a Hall of Fame?
Yeah, come on.
down.
No one good is on that. If you've made it to the Walk of Fame, like you are a scumbag for sure.
That's got to be that's
No
the
offense
scumbag
to
Hall
Steve
of Fame.
Carell.
We should start the video like that. We'd be like, "Welcome to the scumbag." I'm sorry, not the scumbag Hall of Fame. This is the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Sorry, my bad.
All right, two more WWE Hall of Famers or presidents of the United States who have received a Stone Cold Stunner.
Jeez, that's so depressing. Hollywood, I mean, wrestling.
Wrestling. Yeah, there are
Wrestlers.
228 guys in the
Yeah.
guys and gals in the WWE Hall
There's
of Fame.
one. There's
So
one
far.
president.
One so far.
Oh God.
I'm sure by the time we die, there will be like 7 or 8.
Oh
but
yeah, we're not headed in a good direction.
We're only at
here.
one. Finally, Hockey Hall of Fame inductees or attempts it would take Charlotte to accurately describe icing, which is the bigger number.
Definitely Charlotte attempts it. I still haven't done it.
That is correct. We have
Right?
417 people in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and infinity is the number I wrote down for Charlotte's icing explanation.
I'm glad I got
there
that
you go.
right.
That's a fun game. That we.
It's an
we just played.
amazing game.
You did well. I was surprised. You usually these games eat your lunch, but not this one.
No, I
You
know.
were-
The
you were
reason is
prepared.
because for some reason you picked things that I actually know about. It was
Yeah.
bizarre. Like I know that Bob Dylan's written a lot of songs. Normally I'm like completely clueless, but thank you for that.
I know that William Taft was never received a Stone Cold Stunner. I know
I
that.
know
We
for
learned
a
that in history
fact
class.
that Nixon didn't get a Stone Cold. Some people argue that he did, but he in fact did not. Thank you. That was a great game, Mark.
Fun game, right?
Yeah.
Before we go, I want to wrap up talking about the Field of Dreams game.
Yes, me
mostly
too.
because we work for Fox and I'm being held. I'm going to talk about it. There's a guy right off camera that's holding a gun. That's like, please.
No, we're talking about it because I just rewatched I had never seen Field of Dreams before Monday.
Yeah.
And I watched it for the first time. And I'm sorry, but that is an absolutely off its rocker movie. Have you watched it recently, Mark?
Not recently. I've seen it I think twice in my life.
Okay,
and
so tell
probably not
me
in 10
your
years.
memory of this movie.
Oh, my memories are that it's pretty wild. Like, but
Okay.
it's a movie. My memory is that it's a movie that you suspend disbelief or whatever the term is, and
Yes.
you just like you have to buy in. It is a movie that like
Yes.
you have to, as you're sitting down to watch it, you have to say, I'm all in on this. Wherever you want to take me, I'm willing to go. Because if not, there's a lot of ghosts. There's a lot of leaps of logic in terms of like, if you build the field in Iowa, they will come. Obviously, that's the most famous line. And even at the end, I think that isn't like the final scene, like they come.
Yeah.
It's like the people start
They show
pulling
up.
into they start pulling into the to the field. They weren't gonna pull into the field. That's not
No.
happening. That's
No,
not happening.
they-
But but like the whole movie, I will say, like it does scratch that itch of baseball nostalgia and wanting to
Yes.
play catch with your father and all that kind of stuff. So it does accomplish that. But it is a weird movie.
Well, it is a trippy thing to watch for the first time when you're in your 30s because, if I had seen this as a kid, I would not have batted an eyelash. I'd been like, oh, of course, the ghosts show up, and then the little girl says that people are going to pay to come see the ghosts, and then there's an aerial shot of cars lining up down the Iowa highway to show up here. And somehow Kevin Costner buys a farm at the age of 36, even though he doesn't seem to have had a job before. And the financial decisions in the movie alone are enough to make you,
Well, what was the movie? It was in the 80s. So
it was 89.
When was it set? Was it set in the 80s too?
Yeah.
It was set in the, okay, well, the 80s, maybe there's farmland was, maybe the idea
80s
of home
were prosperous, Mark. I'll say it.
Home ownership in the 80s for 30-year-olds was actually attainable.
Isn't it wild? That was my takeaway from the movie, is that millennials really got screwed.
I've reached that point. You've reached that point in your life where you watch movies and you're like, oh my God, look at the gas prices.
I know. I'm like, the mortgage on that house was affordable. I'm watching Kevin Costner almost lose a farm because he built a baseball field is maddening when you're a millennial in 2021 and you can't buy an apartment, let alone a home.
Property, and you thought I should risk it all by trying to
you
build
had
a baseball field for ghosts?
Porch, and you build a baseball field for ghosts? No, so I think that I was distracted by the financial implications of the film, but I was just struck by how when you watch it as an adult, like if you're a kid, you could readily suspend disbelief. But the whole thing is, watching it was bizarre because I was like, I have literally zero idea what is, like, there is a scene where Kevin Costner's wife in the movie stands up at a PTA meeting and gets everyone in the crowd to denounce communism. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just a plot point that just happens.
You think that's unrealistic?
Well, then Kevin Costner goes and kidnaps this guy in Boston and takes him to Fenway. And I mean, two fun facts up from the Field of Dreams Wikipedia page. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck as children were extras in the Fenway scene in Field of Dreams.
Really?
Yes, and the aerial shot of Iowa of the cars lining up to, coming to the field after Kevin Costner builds it, that was real. That wasn't special effects. They lined up cars along that entire road, and to look like it had the illusion of cars moving, they had people flick their blinkers on and off so that it looked like they were moving through trees.
Wow. Mm-hmm. How about that?
Pretty cool. Anyway, so my point is that the movie is logically, and you feel like you're on drugs, but the feeling of it is the whole point. Like, it doesn't matter how you got there. At the end of the movie, I was crying. James Earl Jones gives a speech about baseball, and Kevin Costner meets his dad as a young man, and I was on my couch by myself crying at Field of Dreams, and I was like, oh, it's just like baseball. It's about feeling. It's a romantic movie about a romantic sport.
To your larger point, though, the movie is crazy in the sense that if this was a story about a man whose father's dream was to, like, be a tailor, and now he's opening, like, his own, I don't know, like, tailor shop in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, and he finally, like, the climatic scene, he, like, tailors a pair of pants. And there's, like, a bunch of ghosts that cut, you know what I mean?
For like, the ghost of his dead tailor dad.
Yeah, for the ghost of it. Like, if it's just a quote unquote average profession like that, or like an average thing like that, this is the worst movie ever. But like, baseball is romantic, and I guess that's the whole point of the movie, is that not all things are created equal. Baseball is special. Baseball is an American pastime, Charlotte. I don't know if you heard. So yeah, the Field of Dreams game. I'm excited for this on Thursday. For those of you listening, Thursday night, I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern on Fox. The Yankees and the White Sox will. I hate that. I will say, if this is
these are your two nightmare teams that they could have picked.
If we are paying homage to baseball and how romantic it is, I don't understand why you're picking two teams that don't even play baseball because they use DHs. I don't understand.
My God.
I feel like the Cubs versus Cardinals would have been a lot better in this situation. A lot of sacrifice bunts and double switches and stuff would have been a little more romantic, but that's okay. Yeah, so that's going on tonight. Great idea, by the way. I can't believe baseball, for how much baseball gets killed for living in the Stone Age and not adapting. And they're the league that takes down highlights on Twitter. If you tweet out a home run highlight, you'll get a cease and desist from baseball. It's not a sport that caters to young people, Charlotte. I got to say, this is awesome that they think outside the box. They do this with the Little League World Series too, where they have a game at the Little League World Series every year in Williamsport. They're doing this with Field of Dreams. This is a great idea, and I don't know. I think they should be commended for it because, yeah, they get crapped on for basically every other decision that they get that the league makes. So there you go. You got one right, baseball.
Yes, you did it, baseball. I loved the movie. I will say, like, I didn't understand it, but I felt great watching it, and it went by very quickly, which is how I know that I enjoyed something. I just want
to take that clip of you saying that right there and just make that your film review for every single movie. Because I just find it, like the new Christopher Nolan movie. You're like, Tenet, I didn't understand it at all, but it went by quickly and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Also, stars. If you toss in Kevin Costner in the 80s wearing high-waisted jeans, I am 100% there. The man looked incredible in that whole movie. I just have to, we got to call a spade a spade. But I think that the game is going to be really fun. I agree. It's a great way to make people interested in the game and also watch a movie from the 80s. Like, there are a bunch of kids, like, I mean, even me, I hadn't seen it and it made me interested. And so I think it's going to be really fun. They also, MLB on Fox sent us both care packages, which is really exciting. And it was, you loved it. Do you want to explain what it was?
It was a big old wooden 3-dimensional home plate that had the Field of Dreams presented by Geico stamped on it. And then you can open up the top of home plate, and inside is a video from the Field of Dreams with the Fox baseball music. There was popcorn from Iowa, or caramel corn from Iowa. There was like a book about Shoeless Joe Jackson.
It was the book that the movie was based on.
Yeah, the book that the movie is based on. There was a scorecard that you can. They put a pencil in an old school baseball scorecard so you can keep score of the game.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, I was sick.
I just got
I don't
the
know what to do
popcorn
with
reference.
it now, but
that's what I'm wondering. In a one-bedroom apartment in New York City, I'm like, this is half of my apartment.
I think you could like carve it out and turn it into like another room in your apartment. That might be big enough.
Podcast. That'll be my podcast studio. That's what I'll do. All right. Well, we're very excited for this game, and so our list today is a riff on it. You want to tell the people what we're doing?
So our idea for our these are our top 5. Taking this Field of Dreams idea of playing an MLB game that counts. It is a real, true MLB game. Whatever happens in this game will go down in the history books. If a no-hitter happens, Charlotte, we're going to have to revisit that. Which number is bigger? We're going to add it to it. It is a real-life MLB game. This is not an exhibition. It's taking place at the Field of Dreams field. And we thought, this is a great idea, obviously. How can we expand on this? These are our ideas on how to expand on this. Do this with other sports. Where are we doing this? That sort of thing. If you were to take this into other sports, or maybe not other sports, maybe play baseball games somewhere else, what does your list look like? Of where you want to see games played based on movies. So I will let you go first with number 5.
All right. My number 5 is I want to see an inline skating competition at the rink where they filmed the Disney Channel original movie Brink.
I do not know this movie, so we're
you
off
don't
to a
know
great
this
start.
movie?
Brink.
Anyone who knows will know. Brink was one of these Disney Channel originals with like a 90s sports villain who like pushed other kids off the inline skating course. It was a very formative experience in my
How do I not know about this? I don't
know. I'm actually shocked that you don't know Brink from the Disney Channel original. We didn't have cable growing up, but my grandmother had cable, and my cousins and I, when we were hanging out in the summer, would go to her house and watch every Disney Channel original, and Brink was just our absolute favorite.
Is that what it is? Like, maybe I didn't have the Disney Channel when I was growing up. I guess
I'm saying that because I didn't,
yeah.
But my grandmother did, and it was like, you know, you go to a friend's house who always has Twizzlers and just like eat the entire bag. You know?
For me, the rich friend was the friend that had name brand cereal, and I was like, this is insane. Can I take some of this home with me?
You're like, Twix? Wait. Trix? There it is.
No, sorry. No, Bugs Bunny called us Trix Twix.
Twix? So. You like Twix cereal?
Or Elmer Fudd. I messed that up. Elmer Fudd calls it.
What's your number 5?
Brink has an exclamation point, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's the best movie
hilarious.
of all time.
That's how you can tell
Brink.
it's extreme.
Extreme Brink. Yeah.
Number 5 on my list is... I want this to be a reality. When 3x3, which is the 3-on-3 basketball, which was new to the Olympics this year, When it comes to Los Angeles in 2028, when the Olympics are played in Los Angeles in 2028, I want them to play the 3-on-3 at the Venice Beach basketball courts in honor of White Men Can't Jump.
Love it.
I want
Love
3-on-3
it.
at Venice Beach. And I think this actually is a great idea. And this is one of those ideas that I write down as a joke and then I stare at it and I'm like, this has to happen.
Yeah,
this is a great idea.
That and the Hall of Fame those are both like legitimately great ideas. Okay, I love it. My number 4, I think you're gonna like a lot, is I want an America's Cup at the place that they filmed The White Lotus, which is the Four Seasons Resort Maui at Wailea. I think that's how you say it. I want the next America's Cup to take place off the shores of that resort so that I can go there and watch people sail.
Just go there. So I can go there.
Yeah. That's so good. That's gonna be so good.
Does White Lotus have anything to do with sailing? I haven't watched it. I don't know.
No, but there's an ocean.
Okay.
So I took liberties with this one. The rest of mine make a little more sense, but this one.
The ocean is one of the main characters, and I would like to see it appear.
Yes, it is. It plays a prominent role. I also think that I'm playing to the crowd here with an America's Cup choice. So.
My number 4 is semi-realistic as well. I want to think it is baseball. It is Sandlot. I want a game. Yeah, I figured you might have it on the list, but I had to put it on my list too. A baseball game on the 4th of July. I think that's an important wrinkle.
That's how. Okay, who would play the Cubs and the Cardinals in your game?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, mine would be
actors. I think just get the actors for the Sandlot.
Okay, do you want to know? Okay, this is one of the coolest things that I've ever been able to say that I did. They had the Sandlot night at the Brooklyn Cyclones, a minor league team in Coney Island. Ham Porter, the guy from the Sandlot, the red-haired kid, he was there doing a meet and greet. And I went and I wrote about it for Sports Illustrated and I got to watch the game. It was just me and Ham Porter. His name is Patrick Renna. And we watched from a box at the stadium. He was the coolest guy. So chill. And I asked him, I was like, what is it, do you ever feel weird what does it feel like to still be doing, the Sandlot bobblehead meet and greets at the age of 35 or whatever? Yeah. And he was like, oh my God, I love it. He was like, I don't take this for granted for a second. Like, I feel so lucky to have been a part of something that means so much to people. Like, grown adults were dressed up as like Wendy Peppercorn and Squints. Yeah. Going to meet him, and he was like, why would that ever be a problem for me? Like, I don't feel stunted by it. I just love what this means to people. And so that was probably the greatest sports story I've ever gotten to write.
He said, he's like, I said the words, you play ball like a girl, and into a camera, and I have been making money from that for the rest of my life.
He's like,
so
I think what he was
about that?
I think what he was trying to say to me is like, I've made a bunch of money off this movie, so I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
Yes, I have never worked a day in my life because I was a chubby kid once, and people thought I was funny. I just looked this up, by the way. The Sandlot, were you aware? This is going to blow your mind. Sandlot was filmed primarily in Utah.
Yes, I did know that because I think they had a reunion game for like the 25th anniversary. I think the characters went back and played or showed the movie at the place that they played. But MLB has not done it, which is why we need this to happen.
We need to make that happen. July 4th, get Ray Charles to sing America the Beautiful, which might be...
So good.
Yeah, is he alive, by the way?
I don't know.
I would say no, but
I
we're going to see.
Gonna say it.
Yeah, 2004.
That's tough.
That's gonna be tough. But
hey, Field of Dreams brought back dead people.
Here's my other wrinkle. Have the Cubs play the Cardinals, and we will allow the DH in this game only if Ham Porter can be all-time DH.
There it is.
If Ham Porter's the DH, it's allowed. Otherwise, get it out of my face. That's
I also do feel that Cubs Cardinals make sense for this.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Red Sox something just to be a contrarian, but I think you're right.
Yeah. All right, what else is on your list? What's where at?
My number 3 is I want a high school football championship on the Friday Night Lights, the TV show version field.
Yeah.
I want like the Texas State Championship on the Friday Night Lights field.
That's a good one. With Buddy Garrity there. I got to be honest, I tapped out at season 2 of Friday Night Lights. I thought it was an awesome show, and then season 2, which is the writer's strike season, where
it was a tough.
Spoiler alert. Landry kills a guy, right?
Yeah, it was truly the worst turn. Like, I've never seen a show get worse more quickly, but I think I think I tuned out after like the third, maybe. But I was so obsessed with Connie Britton and Kyle Chandler, with Coach Taylor and Tammy Taylor, that I was like, I will watch it for their rock solid marriage alone.
when Lila Garrity got abducted by aliens, I was like, I don't think the writers know what's going on here. I was like, what is happening? Hang on a second.
This is fishy. That doesn't happen in Texas. That happens in Nevada.
Yeah, right. Number 3 for me is also football. I want to see the NFL play a game inside of a working prison in honor of the longest yard. It could be any prison. Just put a football game.
Dude. It's so dark.
And it's very on the nose for the NFL as well. I think I think the blue check marks of Twitter would love this idea. They would definitely not have a problem whatsoever with the optics of this. And I think this would be a huge hit. Have the NFL play a game inside a prison.
Totally. This would thrill everybody, and no one would have a problem with it, Mark. Great work. Good job. My number 2 is MLB on the Sandlot.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm glad that we. No. I like
Great
when we have.
Yeah,
I like when we have the same ones.
My number 2 is a bobsled race in Jamaica. Just to see if it's possible. Just to see, like.
They have to build like the Abu Dhabi ski resort in Jamaica I hate that I didn't think of this.
They invest like billions of dollars to like make this a reality because they can't keep the ice cold enough at any point in time. And it's all for like a 30-second race.
The UN is like, did you not just read our climate change report? Yeah. We're like, sorry, entertainment.
Yeah, but nostalgic, you guys. We need this.
Yeah, but remember the Field of Dreams? It's just like that. Okay, my number 1 is an MLS game on the field in Texas from the Big Green. Did you ever watch the Big Green?
You love the Big Green.
I am obsessed with the Big Green. The Big Green is my favorite, not just sports movie, like probably top 3 movie of all time. Yes, and Patrick Renna, he's in that too. He's the goalie who hallucinates.
Is his name Ham Porter in that one too?
God, no, I can't. I gotta look up what his name is.
Is there a Patrick Renna universe? Is there a Ham Porter universe where?
Well, you know how Kevin Costner did Bull Durham and then he did Field of Dreams? This was like Patrick Renna. The Big Green, I don't know if it came after or. I
gotta say, it's tough being a child star in the 90s because this is more a me problem than the child star problem, but I used to think that like all the actors were the same. Like I thought Ham Porter in the Big Green was Ham Porter. I thought it was the same guy in the same character, and I thought when Macaulay Culkin was in Richie Rich, I thought Kevin McAllister made a ton of money, and you know what I mean.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, it's all, like anytime I see Macaulay Culkin, that's Kevin McAllister. That's the guy that got left home alone right there.
That's a wild. I've never. Okay, wow. That's like your reflex thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Larry Musgrove. His name was Larry in the Big Green.
I don't like it. Ham Porter.
Come on, it was Larry, the goalie. I loved him.
Larry the goalie.
Oh my God, the most romantic. There is the most romantic scene. Actually, the Big Green really gets at some very hot button issues. There's a whole thing like this one of the kids is a illegal immigrant and his family gets deported and he can't play in the soccer game. And now that I'm saying it, I'm like, that was a pretty heavy. And he comes back in time for the game. The sheriff goes and gets him, and which is also just, I mean, the whole thing is kind of insane. And he comes back, and the girl that he had a crush on, who had a crush on him, she was like, don't leave next time. And he goes, next time I'll just take you with me. And I remember being like 7 and being like, that's true love, baby. That's what it is. Anyway.
The Big Green was ahead of its time. Did they have a kid who got canceled because he tweeted something bad 7 years ago and had to like deal with that?
Yes, they did. The coach of the bad team, the Knights, he gets canceled, and so he has to kiss the goat because he loses. I'm serious. And he's also the announcer from Angels in the Outfield. So there's a whole 90s sports movies universe that I would love to exist in.
That would be fun. We should actually do that. We should do a 90s sports movie show when there's nothing else to talk about. We're in the dog days of summer
next week?
Right now. Maybe. Let's just do it next week.
Hell yeah.
Before we go, my number 1, before we get to that, we got to do my number 1. My number 1 is the greatest sports movie ever made. I think everyone knows where I'm going with this. I'm talking about Point Break, obviously. It's a surfing movie. It's a skydiving movie. And my number one idea is to use the plane from Point Break, where they have a famous skydiving scene, to have Travis Pastrana versus David Blaine in a game of skydive chicken out of the Point Break plane.
That was a curveball. I was like, Hoosiers, here we come. And you hit me with the Point Break. Did you watch the remake, by the way?
I won't do it.
It is horrendous. Don't watch it, but I did enjoy watching it. But Point Break, just unbelievable film. Like, probably, maybe one of the greatest sports movies of all time that doesn't get mentioned with the other sports movies.
It is Point Break a sports movie? I think it is. It definitely is.
We could do an entire show on Point Break a sports movie.
Nobody has considered Point Break a sports movie. It is so good. I love that.
So good.
I love that movie.
Oh,
I'm gonna go watch Point Break tonight.
Yeah, me too.
Is that it? Is there
it's
anything
not like
else?
sports.
Yeah, there's nothing else going on.
After the Field of Dreams game, I'm gonna put on another sport. And it's gonna be Point Break.
we tell everyone to watch the Field of Dreams game, and then we don't even watch it.
Because we're watching Point Break.
Our bosses like email us. They're like, "Thanks for plugging that. What'd you guys think?" And we're like, "We didn't watch. We were watching the Big Green and Point Break."
You like about Point Break? About the plane scene? I loved it.
I was watching Ham Porter play goalie, and
yeah, sorry, we were in the greatest crossover event of all time. Sandlot in character in the Big Green. Anyway.
Oh, all right. Is there anything else, Charlotte? Any
we've
parting
really
thoughts
covered.
for the people?
I think we've really covered it all, Mark.
I think we did it all.
I'm trying to think if I have a parting thought. Tell us what you think of our Hall of Fame idea. I'm never gonna. You've created a monster. Now I'm gonna send an email to our bosses being like, hey, hear me out.
Send me here's another thing we want emails. Send me guys who had Hall of Fame careers for multiple teams. Like, you could make a case that on either team they would be a Hall of Famer.
Also send us sports movies that you loved that we could talk about or that we missed in our list of things.
The other thing I like with college sports, guys transfer, and there's like a battle of, like, Russell Wilson's a great example. He played at NC State, but then he also played at Wisconsin. Which school gets to claim Russell Wilson? So maybe I want to have the power to judge this stuff, Charlotte. So send in those ideas. Like, do we need to make judgments on players like that, of like Russell Wilson,
like Baker Mayfield? He's Oklahoma. Right?
Yeah, no. Yeah, he's definitely Oklahoma.
Because I can't really. Was it Texas Tech?
It's Texas State. Yeah.
See, I'm not entirely sure.
Send us emails. What plug the email address? We don't do that enough.
People's Sports Podcast at gmail.com. And don't let it trip you up that there are two S's in a row. It goes People's and then Sports.
People's Sports.
People's Sports Podcast.
There it is. We did it. Thanks for listening. We will be back next week.